What do you want? Why you pity my day? I want to use bank to be a journey. I buy a walk up coming in or no. You want to know. I want to use bank I go you walk up and I go you busy. I go up. I want to use bank to be a journey. I go you walk up coming in or no. What do you want to know? I want to use bank to be a journey. I go you walk up and I go you busy. I go up. I want to use bank to be a journey. I go you walk up and I go you busy. I go up. You busy being on. What do you busy? What do you busy? And a bit of party, you gonna cut your you busy being on. For me, what do you busy? And a bit of party, you gonna cut your you busy being on. We are winning a paper, but you don't want to get away. What do you busy? No bit of quarrel. When you busy, and a little party, you gonna got your neighbor, you busy being on. When you busy, and a little party, you gonna got your neighbor, you busy being on. They look what I can afford it. Sorry, you're going to put the walk on. One minute, what is it? Johnny Gally, yellow for a putty, one do you know you busy, do you? Johnny Gally, yellow for a putty, one. Do you know you busy, do you? Hey, Diana, you busy, Pingo? When it's not bad, one minute. Where you busy, do you? Where you busy, do you? Papa, we got you busy, bingo. I did it. Oh, yeah, what my name? Where you busy, do you? Where you busy, do you? Hey, Diana, you busy, bingo. Ya que ni marro, como por aquí no corre. Iba que no corre, que el coche me dio busy. Come uno con tu agua. You busy, malo. Yena que no corre. You busy, malo. Aywa. Do your car, nigga, you busy, bingo. Do your prima, nigga, you busy, bingo. Do your car, nigga, you busy. Give me. What is it? Mano me no come in here, can on borre. Down me no come in here, can on borre. Come back in a window. I think you busy, malo. In here, can on borre. I think you busy, malo. And here, the capara. Come on. No, I don't wait. Come in. Hiya. Now me no come in here, no matter. Now me no come in here, no matter what. Come on, no, don't think you busy, malo. Yeah, man, I think what. Don't think you busy, malo. Come on, yeah, man, got it. Keep on. Now me no come in here, no matter what. UPC malo, Oba window, Odo be UPC malo. Rana, yawa UPC matek. Kwame no neko UPC bingo. Kwado be no UPC. Woni me no wala UPC tete bingo. Komi jele de weko. Wala UPC. Eh. Mami UPC, eno mero kwa Uganda kanda jwa neko UPC bingo. Oba window. Mami UPC, eno mero kwa Uganda kanda jwa neko UPC bingo. You bank to me, you are going to walk up coming in over. What do you want to know? I will be your gentleman, and you are going to walk up with a good Nalago, you be here. I will be your bank to me, you are going to walk up coming in over. What do you want to know?
Well, good evening, viewers on Unity Television and some of you listening us from Radio 97.7 FM Lira. I'm glad to have tonight with the Honorable DENIS ADIM ENAP, a leader in Uganda People's Congress Party. Honorable DENIS, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, how do I address you?
Party President.
Really?
Of the Uganda People's Congress. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Well, Honorable DENIS, it has been a while that we have not heard from you. Many things have happened and UPC have missed being in the ballot. How do you feel about this?
It is very sad that the UPC is not on the ballot for president, and it is as a result of the internal contradictions within the party. And these contradictions have been caused by Jimmy James Michael Akena. He served his 2 terms as president, as the constitution limits him to, and in an attempt to get a 3rd term, contrary to the party constitution, he led us into this entire scuffle, which resulted the party into not having a candidate for president of Uganda. So it is very sad, and also when you stretch it back to 2016, it has not been within his interest to contest. 2016, he was party president. 2021, he was also party president. So I think around the notion of him contesting for president, it hasn't been within his interests, but rather using the party for his means that we don't know about.
For many times, you have been accused by Honorable Jim Akena that UPC having not been presented in the ballot, it has been you who caused that. How do you feel about this statement?
It's misplaced. Parties are bound by constitutions, their own constitutions. The constitution we have in UPC was amended and promulgated during the tenure of Mama Mary Obote. And Jimmy Akena was the assistant national chairperson. He was in charge, he was the author of some of the provisions in the party constitution. If anything, Akena was the author of 2 particular provisions. 1, the provisions that introduced the district conference elections, and then 2, the term limits. The UPC constitution didn't have term limits before. It is Akena who introduced term limits into the party constitution and then pushed us to a 2-circle election of electing a party president, where he introduced the district conferences. So Akena is only a victim of a law that he promulgated himself as a chairperson under his mother's tenure. So how I feel, disappointed in Akena for trying to mislead the public into narratives that don't exist or situations that he created on his own.
Do you think the party will get out of this situation?
Certainly, we've been into worse. When 85 happened, we never knew that we would get back our bearing. 95, 96, when parties were banned, and then we went into the movement system. Until 2005, we never knew that the UPC would go through it, but it went through it. We've been through worse situations. This is just one of those hiccups that you'd have as a political institution. I'm confident that we're going to come out of it stronger.
Then how do you see Uganda People's Congress Party in 2031 general election?
It will depend on what we do starting now. If we continue these fights, we shall be wiped out completely.
You claim to be the party president of UPC.
Yes.
What interest do you have in UPC?
I'm a member of the UPC. My interest is the interest of the founding fathers. What was the position and the interest of Milton Obote together with other members that came together to constitute and start up the Uganda People's Congress? My interest is to further the dreams of our founding fathers, to say to it that we liberate and then also transform, grow Uganda into a country that all of us can live comfortably and happily as citizens. That is my interest. And the only party that can do that is the Uganda People's Congress.
Okay. Then now, there has been the question of money, the briberies, the exchange of cash. And you have been accused by Jimmy Akena that you collected money from candidate Museveni to block him from being in the ballot. How much did you receive from Museveni?
I wish I received it. If any money was sent to me, whoever sent it must know that it hasn't reached. And back to the issue, thieves will always accuse others of being thieves. Jimmy Akena and I, who is working for President Museveni, my wife is in private practice. She's a lawyer, she's an advocate. Jimmy Akena's wife, what's Jimmy Akena's wife's name?
Honorable Betty.
Does she have any title?
Minister.
In whose government? Is it in Obote's government?
In Museveni's government.
Yes. So what explanation can Jimmy Akena, son of Milton Obote, who vowed with all his life never to work with Museveni, explain to the people of Uganda, the Uganda People's Congress, and the people of Lamu, the circumstances under which his wife is working with the very person that his father disabused? So between the two of us, who is working for President Museveni? And when you look at me, do I look money? Don't I look very malnourished or thin? Akena, when you look at Akena's body, when you look at Akena in 2015 and Akena right now, Akena is like a balloon. He has blown out. He's eating well. He's feeding. So the narrative of money...
But you don't look bad.
I'm small. I'm tiny. This is not my body. I should be bigger than this. Our family has genes, nice, healthy genes. But I'm small, tiny because I'm struggling. But not to miss the point, Jimmy Akena in 2015 decided to bring the concept President Museveni into the Uganda People's Congress. Before that, we didn't have the NRM and President Museveni in UPC. Ever since Jimmy introduced NRM politics and President Museveni into the affairs of the Uganda People's Congress is where the problem started from. 2, Jimmy's wife in 2016, when she was appointed as a minister, lands first. Members of the party went up in arms to want Betty expelled from the party. A petition was submitted to the party disciplinary committee. Akena, as party president, he blocked that entire meeting from taking place for the disciplinary committee. To this day, he proudly tells people, Ugandans and Lango at that he loaned President Museveni Betty Amongi. So then the question is, under what conditions did Jimmy Akena loan his wife to President Museveni? When you give someone a loan, you get interest. Isn't it so? When I give you a loan of 1 million shillings, won't you be forced to pay it back with an interest? Do you don't you? When I loan, Jimmy Akena's own words, I loaned the NRM, I loaned President Museveni, my wife. There has to be a point of paying back. But there must be an interest. This interest is what Akena receives in the night. Akena has received money from President Museveni. I've moved part of that money.
So in this case, who has gotten money from Museveni?
It is Akena who is getting money from President Museveni.
He's still getting?
To this day. This year he received an equivalent of 14 billion. For what purpose?
Do you have the proof?
I went to him and asked him, Jimmy, I have information you received 14 billion from President Museveni. In May, he denied, he said, it's not to that magnitude. He didn't deny. He denied the amount.
But accepted?
He didn't accept. He denied the amount. He said not to that magnitude.
That means he received.
That would be any man's reasonable interpretation of the statement. So, between Akena and ENAP, who is working for President Museveni in the UPC? Who is receiving money from President Museveni? 3, why do you allow your wife to work for a person you consider your enemy? If you're Christian, would you go to a shrine? My brother, when you're Christian, would you go to a shrine?
No.
And when you go to a shrine, will you again come out and blame and accuse the shrine, the witch doctor, of doing bad things? Yet you consistently go there. Who is fooling who? The shrine goer, or me, I'm simply a Christian standing beside saying he's a shrine goer. The best Akena can do, or he could have done, was to denounce association with President Museveni first, by declaring that Betty Amongi is no longer a member of the UPC if she continues serving in President Museveni's
Council
government.
ADIM ENAP, you say Jimmy Akena received 14 billion from candidate Museveni in May. How did you know that?
We get information. We get information.
Were you looking for your share?
No.
By going to him and asking for that money?
I told him this is causing us trouble in the party.
Where did you meet him?
Uganda House, at the stairs.
Was it a courtesy visit or just...
No, we had gone for, we had been invited to be declared as candidates for president of the UPC at a press conference.
Then you asked him?
Then I asked him, there is this information I'm getting. You received 14 billion from President Museveni. For what? Why would President Museveni give you money? Why would President Museveni maintain your wife as a minister in 3 different portfolios? Lands, Kampala, gender. So if your wife is working for President Museveni and she comes and sleeps in your bedroom, why do you accuse others of working with President Museveni?
But do you even meet President Museveni?
I've never met him.
Are you sure?
The first time I saw President Museveni was when I was at the traffic lights at Entebbe Junction. I saw him, he was in a car. That's the closest I've been to President Museveni. But I'm 40 years. I've never, beyond seeing him in a car. The most I see the president, newspapers, television.
But do you communicate to him?
I've never. I wish I could.
Are you sure?
Yes, I wish. He's president of Uganda. There are things I would want him to listen to about how this country is being mismanaged.
But do you share money with the Jimmy Akena?
I've never received any money from him. Even for the time I worked with him, I volunteered. He never paid me. I never asked him for payment. I volunteered from 2014, November, to 2017, January.
As what?
His driver, his personal assistant, his financial controller. I did all sorts of things. Ask him if he has ever paid. And also ask him if I've ever demanded for payment. Me, I went to volunteer to the Uganda People's Congress.
Through Jimmy Akena.
Period. And one of my points of departure was his association with President Museveni in 2017, when he wasn't giving us a clear reasoning. Milton Obote said,
yes,
even if it required to shake hands with Museveni using his walking stick, he could not have accepted. Milton Obote, doctor, he could never have shaken, even allowed President Museveni to touch his walking stick as a way of shaking hands. Milton was UPC's president. So if the main founding father says, I am uncomfortable with this situation, what makes you, a young generation, want to go and do the things we are taught against? We are taught not to worship the devil. And as a Christian, you choose to go and worship the devil. Should you again come around and accuse the devil of being a devil?
But Councillor ENAP, why the issue of money is still within you and Jimmy Akena, just within you and Jimmy Akena, time and again? Why?
It's the other thing I've told you. A thief will accuse others of being a thief. In town here, in Kampala, when you go downtown, if you the person who snatches your phone from you will be the first to yell, Omubi, a thief. But he has snatched your phone. That's what Jimmy Akena is doing. Jimmy receives money from President Museveni through the wife. And then he yells loudest, so and so is receiving money from President Museveni. So, the money narrative is a creation of Jimmy for something he's taking benefit of. Now, he thinks, Jimmy has a problem. Besides being an MP, Jimmy has never worked. He has no track record of working. So he doesn't know that people work and earn. We work and earn, my brother. Even if it is 500,000, we work and earn. So if I play around with my resources and I accumulate, you don't accuse me of stealing or getting free money. No one gives free money. Even him, the money he gets from President Museveni, it is not free. It is to compromise the major objective aim of the Uganda People's Congress in the politics of Uganda. That's why in 2016, Akena didn't contest. And in 2016, Akena stood at a rally next to grounds that are next to the main market and said, vote the oldest man, the man with a hat.
From where?
What are those gardens called? The gardens that are next to the market, the main market in Nira.
Coronation Park.
Yes, Coronation Park. I was recording. I was not told. I was there at the same platform. He said, 2016, vote the oldest man.
Did he mention?
He said it.
Did he mention the oldest man, the name of the oldest man?
He didn't mention the name. He said, vote the oldest man, the man with the hat. In our politics, who is the man with the hat? It is President Museveni. So, after those elections, we see the wife being appointed a minister. Don't you think, and when you connect those two dots, don't you realize this was the ministerial appointment was an appreciation for what he had done? 2016, did Akena contest? We're in Uganda. Did Akena contest in 2021?
For?
President.
He didn't.
What reason did he give?
He's still preparing.
Did his wife bounce back as a minister after the elections?
Yes.
Recently, Akena stood up and said, the people who wanted to support him for president shouldn't vote President Museveni. What did Honorable Betty Amongi say? Chris Ongom, whose regional vice chairperson was he? Who is he supporting?
When?
For president in Uganda, hasn't Chris Ongom declared open support for a candidate?
For the 2026?
Yes.
He declared for Museveni?
Yes. Why is it that everybody around Akena is declaring President Museveni? And him is pretending not to be declaring? Jimmy should stop accusing other people of the very things he is doing. It's dishonest of him. He becomes a pathological liar, as his father said.
So the 14 billion is in the pocket?
He knows where it is. Jimmy has abnormal wealth now. Where has that money come from? We know what MPs earn. He has properties in the UK. If he wants us to go that far, where did he get money to buy all that property?
The wife is a minister.
No.
He earns from parliament.
It's not the wife's property. It is his property. I don't want to risk discussing what Jimmy has accumulated out of his association with President Museveni. All I want is Jimmy should be honest enough. Stop accusing President Museveni of the things he has failed to do. He's accusing the president of stopping him to run for president. But the party constitution is clear. 2 terms, you exit. 2015, 2020, that's 1 term. 2020, 2025, that's the 2nd term. Did he amend the party constitution to remove term limits? No. I went to court to safeguard the provisions of the party constitution. My fight is for the sanctity of the Uganda People's Congress, the protection and preservation of the UPC constitution, because we are a party that abides by the law. That's why right from the founding time up to now, the UPC has never picked weapons to go and fight. We don't fight. We follow the law to go to State House.
So UPC not being in the ballot for presidential race, is there anyone to be blamed?
Jimmy Akena.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Why?
Jimmy initiated an electoral process in the UPC for the election of party president. Jimmy picked nomination forms and he didn't pay the nomination fees. This information was given by his own people.
But Jimmy says he has paid 20 billion.
He didn't pay.
But you picked interest form?
I picked interest forms.
Did you
I
pay?
returned them. I paid 20 million shillings.
Do you have the proof?
Yes. How could I have been nominated as a candidate if I hadn't paid? And I went to pay to get nominated at 4:30 p.m. Closing time was 5. Jimmy, up to that point, he hadn't gone to secretariat. I left the secretariat intentionally past 5. I asked Amos Ogwal, the accountant, has Jimmy paid? He said, no, not yet. But I left past 5. So 5 found Jimmy not in. But I was surprised.
At the party secretariat?
Yes. I asked the Assistant Secretary General, has Akena returned nomination forms? He said, no. There was a book for returning. His name wasn't there. But I left the party secretariat past 5 p.m. Our rules guidelines were saying nomination was ending on the 20th of May. At 5 p.m., I left secretariat at past 5. So at what point did Jimmy Akena get nominated? Or at what point did he pay the 20 million shillings? Jimmy doesn't think.
Really?
We are intelligent. We know why we went to the secretariat at 4:30. When they issued the guidelines around payment of nomination fees, I said, let's pay by the bank. We only bring receipts. They objected because they knew Jimmy was not going to pay.
So in this case, you comes unopposed. Now,
When the 2 of us got nominated, even when Akena was erroneously nominated, I went to court to challenge his nomination. on ground that he sought to seek election for a third term, contrary to the party constitution. Court agreed with me. He was disqualified. It means I remained unopposed. Recently, you've been hearing people being nominated unopposed. You had the Speaker of Parliament being nominated unopposed, the Deputy Speaker. We have other candidates for Parliament and local government. Have you seen them being subjected to an election? When you're nominated unopposed, you become that you have been nominated for. So who is lying? Who is fooling? And you see, I grew up in Lango seeing extremely intelligent people in Lango. But why are the Lango accepting this boy to lie to them? The Lango shouldn't accept Jimmy to use them and to use their name for him to eat. If Jimmy wants to work with President Museveni, fair enough, open up. Let's have that discussion as a party. Let the greater party membership discuss it. If we agree to work with President Museveni, we shall go work with him. On one end, party candidates are being bashed for identifying with President Museveni. On the other end, you're benefiting. Who is lying to the other? Who is fooling who? And why are the people of Lango accepting Akena to lie to them? You're a Christian. Your wife goes to a shrine, and you even know it that she has been appointed as one of the servants in the shrine. Can you go to a church and stand there to want to seek to preach? Do you think we shall listen to you? Or if we listen to you, do you think we shall believe what you say? The wife is a shrine performer, assistant. She has been appointed something in the shrine. You're telling us you're a priest. Can you convince us that you also don't conform to the rituals of the shrine? For instance, would the Protestant church or Catholic church allow you to stand at the podium? No. It's the same way the people of Lango and Uganda should treat Jimmy Akena. You can't lie to us and fool people about that Museveni is the problem when you're with him.
Councillor Deminab, who is the master in this syndicate?
Jimmy is trying to play. My role is to do what Milton Obote would have wished. Build the party, revise the policies to meet with the demands of these current times, go out to the voter, seek election at all levels.
So for all this long, the 2016 general election, 2021 general election, and 2026 general election, Jimmy has been rewarded with the 14 billion that he received in May.
It must be much more than that. There are sums he has been receiving.
How?
He gets it. How is political money transferred? I've told you I moved some of it.
Really?
Yes.
How much?
He knows. He knows how much we went to deposit at the Centenary Bank at Lugogo.
You can't tell us.
He knows.
You didn't pocket any?
Not even a coin.
You received from who?
He knows.
You as a driver?
Yes. So he should stop lying to Ugandans. And if he pushes the money fight further, I will expose more information. If Jimmy has information of me receiving a coin, even 1,000 shillings from any member of the National Resistance Movement in the name of fighting the UPC, I will resign. I will disassociate myself with the Uganda People's Congress. I dare him to bring that information. After all, his wife is in government. They can access records.
ENAP Council, are you really struggling to save the party Uganda People's Congress or to kill the party?
I have told you, mine is on a mission of protecting the interests, the views, the dreams of the founding fathers. That's why I even have to go to court against Obote's own son in preservation and protection of the party constitution. The party constitution was promulgated under Miria Obote as president. She was the wife to the former party president. So I imagine her dreams are the aspirations of the founding fathers. Those are the roles, responsibilities we inherited as.
Jimmy has declared no support for candidate Museveni in this 2026 general election. What does that show?
He knows what he's fighting. He's fighting for something. And it all started when he was the chairman of IPOD, when UPC was chairing the IPOD. In this entire fight, it's all about money. Not power, not UPC. It's about money. You ask Akena why he had refused to sign to renew the IPOD charter as UPC. He was trying to seek the attention of the president for purposes of pushing for money. The presidential emoluments. When it comes to other things, Jimmy keeps quiet. When it comes to money issues, he fights.
So you claim to be the party president, UPC, and you are now not nominated. You're no longer in the race for presidency. Where do you direct the UPC votes to for presidency?
We shall decide as a party.
When?
Before election.
But campaign has already gone halfway.
No, even 1 day to election is enough for us to make a resolution.
But if you're to see, who could take it?
That will be the decision of the membership. That's why it's a subject I want to introduce to the National Council or the delegates.
When shall you summon the delegates?
In January, before the election. We shall have a members' meeting. And it will be up to the owners of the party to determine the direction it shall take on the presidency.
What structure shall you use to really have this discussed? Because Jimmy claims you're no longer party president.
It's him who is no longer. His tenure ended.
Then where is your office?
We are still in court trying to take over Uganda House lawfully. I don't want to be like him who used security men to come and fight, push out Otunu. I'm a lawyer. I follow the law in the strictest sense. Hopefully this week we could have a ruling pushing him out.
Okay.
Yes.
So are you sure you're going to take over Uganda House floor 6?
Very well, as night follows day. Very well.
What message can you give to the people of Lango whom are being asked not to vote Museveni by Jimmy Akena?
The people of Lango should wait for the UPC structures to sit down through either the National Council or the Delegates Conference, where we shall make a resolution on which candidate to support for president of Uganda. For now, members are free to go about supporting party candidates at all other levels. Any individual saying vote so and so, the party has not yet made a resolution to that effect. But when we make that resolution as a party, we shall certainly communicate it out to the public.
What can you pledge to the party candidates in terms of supporting them?
Already we are supporting them, especially with finances. But then starting this December, we shall be on the ground across the country to see to it that we give a hand for every UPC candidate who is contesting at all levels.
Have you given some financial supports already?
Very much.
Really?
Very much.
To what tune?
I can't say, we don't give and tell. It will be bad manners.
They know.
They know. But I'm supporting candidates.
Jimmy has declared a fundraising for a pool to generate some money to support the general election for the UPC candidates. How much will you give?
The question should be, how much has Jimmy accounted for the money he has received under the UPC previously?
Which money and from who?
UPC has been receiving money from the National Electoral Commission.
Yes.
Being our portion for the numbers of MPs we have in Parliament. Right from 2016 to this day, averagely, UPC has been getting 300 million, average, I'll give an average of 300 million per quarter. A year has 4 quarters. When you multiply 300 million by 4, you get 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion, when you multiply it by 10 years, that is 12 billion shillings. What has Akena been using that money for? Have you seen it anywhere in setting up structures? Have you heard of any structure set up of the party? Have you heard of any party activities in the name of the Uganda People's Congress being funded by the UPC Secretariat? No. But I can also confidently state that Akena has been siphoning out that money under the guise of paying debt, including paying the wife's debt that he borrowed from her when he was campaigning in 2015 before he became a party president. In essence, the UPC funds are being used to pay for private debt of an individual. Let Akena come and account and say, for the 12 billion shillings I have spent this here and there. That will give credibility to his fundraising drive. If you can't account for the 12 billion shillings, can I trust you with more money? I'll be a fool. I would rather give it to the candidates directly.
Are you not demobilizing that?
No. When someone misuses the name of of UPC, it's my right to protect it. I've said account for the 12 billion shillings. Then you can collect more. Recently, we received about 300 million again, shortly after nomination. No, shortly before nominations for Parliament. What has that money done?
From who?
From the Electoral Commission. Which candidates in Lango can attest and say, I have received campaign posters from the UPC right now? Which of those candidates for Parliament can say, I received money from Jimmy Akena or the UPC? None. It's just a cartel of people who are siphoning out the money. It's just 3-4 individuals. And Jimmy leads them. We shouldn't be fooled. Some of the things we keep quiet about because we believe we can have modest ways of resolving these contradictions. But when you want to make others look bad, then you force us to say. The most honorable thing Jimmy can do right now is to step aside, allow the party to move. And this one I'll say, the people who think that Milton sent Jimmy Akena to be his heir, no. Milton's heir is known, Tony Akahi.
Not Jimmy.
No. Show me anything that Jimmy has done that represents Milton Obote's wishes and interests and objectives. One like this. One. HL. Milton was for building the party. Even in Lamu, is a party built? How many MPs do we have as a party? Vis-a-vis how many seats do we have for parliament? For the time he has been party president, have we gone beyond 10? We've been at 10. Otunu had more MPs. Has he brought in more people to the party? Where? He has instead kicked out people. Milton was for bringing people in. Milton was a neutralizer. He spoke to his enemies and friends alike.
If these rulings comes out of not on your favor, what steps shall you take again?
No, it's going to be. We are confident. Courts are alive to the law. Courts follow the law.
Few days ago, reshufflement has been done by Jimmy. He has removed UPC Party Whip Honorable Santa Loom, replaced by Honorable Jonathan Odu.
He has no power to do that.
Really?
Even the ruling that he got against the Electoral Commission was for a limited purpose of nominating candidates for parliament. Beyond that, Jimmy is not party president. Remember, his tenure ended on 1st August. This ruling only allowed him to nominate so that we don't affect the party candidates.
So to that effect, what will happen
It will not be
in this reshufflement?
It won't take effect because we've also communicated to the Speaker. We've written to her, telling her that Jimmy has no power to appoint or disappoint in the name of the Uganda People's Congress.
Who has communicated to the Speaker?
I did, in my capacity as party president, waiting to be sworn in.
Then how is the reply?
We are still waiting.
You've written to the Speaker to retain Santa.
No modifications until there is formal communication from the party. And that will be after elections. Yes. We have to protect this thing called the Uganda People's Congress. It doesn't matter who it is that is trying to misbehave, whether you're Obote's son, nephew. If anything contravenes the provisions of the party constitution, if the objectives of the party of the UPC are being affected, we shall resist you. We shall do anything and everything to resist those attempts. We shall protect the dreams of the founding fathers.
So UPC candidates shall expect you support to them in this general election.
I'm already supporting them. And I've said I'm going now to that ground to help the party candidates campaign.
From which pool? Since you are not yet in the office.
I'll use my personal, I've been using my personal resources. It's a just cause. The founding fathers built this institution on their own resource before they took power. We shall replicate the same.
Okay. Well, your last message to the people of Uganda People's Congress Party.
Members of the UPC, let's not allow the internal contradictions to break us. It is healthy to disagree. We shouldn't tear each other. The only thing we have to do is to speak truth to each other's faces. Even if that truth means being sent to the king or the prince, we have to do it. Otherwise, when we don't do that, we shall be burying our heads in the sand, and that way, burying the Uganda People's Congress. I wish we don't allow the party to disappear, to die. It should be our role to see to it that we preserve, we grow the Uganda People's Congress. To this end, I take this opportunity to wish you well and also request you to particularly contribute directly to the campaigns of the UPC candidates in your electoral areas. Even for those who are in other areas, if you have the means, please stretch your arm to them. We shall be very grateful, and that's how we're going to be able to regrow the Uganda People's Congress.
Thank you very much, Honorable Council Denis ADIM ENAP, a leader of Uganda People's Congress Party. This is Unity Television and Unity Radio. My name is Mike Ogwal. Special thanks to my producer behind the camera, Jacob Aki. My name is Mike Ogwal, and good night.
What do you PG? What do you PG? Eno biro kwa Uganda kankara jone ku UPC pingo. Kumi. Uyoni what do you PG? Eno biro kwa Uganda kankara jone ku UPC pingo.
Well, viewers and listeners of Unity Radio 97.7 Lira and viewers of Unity Television Lira. Tonight we have our special guest, a leader of the oldest political party, Uganda People's Congress, Honorable Joseph PINYTEK OCHIENO. Sir, you're welcome tonight.
It's a pleasure, and I'm really delighted to be here. And good evening to you. And I rarely say good evening, viewers, but good evening, viewers, and good evening, listeners. It's a pleasure to be with you, man.
Thank you. Joseph OCHIENO, how do I address you in this matter?
I'm effectively, they should be president of Uganda People's Congress. I should be the president of Uganda People's Congress, but I do not refer to myself as president of Uganda People's Congress because I'm a constitutionalist. But I call myself a presidential candidate for Uganda People's Congress because my candidature for UPC is not yet determined. But if you're discussing UPC, many people call me OCHIENO of UPC. And to me, that is sufficient enough. But if you want to give a context of my background, I'm delighted that I can tell you very quickly as part of the introduction that I've been in this party for long before Museveni came to power. I am one of his longest serving leaders. I was the first secretary of a former office of an external bureau opened in London more than 35 years ago. And I was the second chairperson of the external bureau based in the UK. I was privileged to be amongst the first members of the Presidential Policy Commission, which is the cabinet of the party abroad, one of 7 in the year 2002. I was privileged to have been the only member from abroad who was appointed to the Constitutional Steering Commission by late President Milton Obote. And I was lucky enough to also be the first official cabinet spokesperson for Uganda People's Congress as that's under Mama Mira, but cabinet spokesperson meaning not a information officer for the party, but equivalent of a deputy to Mama Mira in cabinet. And I'm saying that because you're asking me what it is, so I speak as authority. But one of the things I also want to say to your program is that in 2015-16, I declared myself Milton Obote's permanent spokesperson.
Is that constitutional?
I declared myself Milton Obote's permanent spokesperson. So a friend of mine in another media house calls me Milton Obote the idea. So it's a self-appointment and it's deliberate. I did so because I was committing myself to ensuring that when I go to heaven to meet him, I will have to give him a report of what happened between October 2005, my life in this place, and when then I'll go to meet him whenever that happens.
You will take the report to Milton Obote?
I'll take a complete report to Milton Obote.
In heaven?
In heaven. And why that is important to me at the introduction is because up to the time of his passing, I was completely convinced that I hadn't annoyed him and I hadn't betrayed him, and that everything I did, like many of my colleagues, I don't want to claim that for myself, many of my colleagues, it's up to them to do their reportings. Whatever I did was based on my clear understanding that is what he would say, what he would do, and what he would want us to do. And on the basis of that, I continue to do everything and say everything that I know old Milton would wish to hear, wish to know. So every time I take any particular action, what would Obote say? What would Obote do? What would they expect me to do? And you can't do that unless you're completely convinced that clearly in heaven you report politically to old Milton while Obana Jesus watches.
You will take the report to the late Milton Obote in heaven. In the context of 2026 general election that UPC as now presidential flag bearer, what report can you give to Obote in heaven?
2026?
Yes.
Very sad. Very sad. I know the president is massively furious in heaven. But for avoidance of doubt, Milton Obote will not be furious for the first time. He was terribly furious in 2021. Why did we not have a presidential candidate? He was furious in 2016. Why did we not have a presidential candidate? So lest you forget, 2026 is going to be the third time. The oldest political party in this country, the political party, the only political party that has governed this country through a democratic mandate twice. The only political party that has never been diselected. You know, we've never lost an election when we're in government. And the only political party that led the campaigns for the second liberation, which was the military liberation, that saw the collapse of Idi Amin in 1979. And the political party that led the campaigns as way back as 1986, 87, 88, 89, including in courts, to seek to get rid of NRA, politically, legal, and diplomatically, including challenging its obnoxious provisions of Article 269 that banned political party operations. Which victory we saw, interestingly, this is in November the 17th, 2004, when the Constitutional Court ruled against NRA that the ban on political parties, their Article 269 was obnoxious, null and void, and that political party operations should be restored. November 17th, 2004, on December 18th, Milton Obote wrote to me, copied to a number of other colleagues of mine, and asked me to return to Uganda. That's the journey that you saw between that time, December, up to March 2005, I leave London, go to Lusaka, prepare for the return. So my return, together with my fantastic brother Jim Akena, and followed by now our late permanent youth Stephen Miller. So others can speak for themselves, but I knew that my mandate was to join our colleagues here on the ground to help quickly reorganize Uganda People's Congress. I told you that I got the appointment to the Constitutional Steering Commission, meaning Dr. Bote dissolved the Presidential Police Commission as a cabinet, interim cabinet at the time, creates the Constitutional Steering Commission, which was an interim cabinet, an interim administration, which, in his own words, was an organ to prepare the party back into constitutionalism. So I was appointed to that commission. I was actually secretary of the Manifesto and Constitution Committee of that. The preparation for that was remobilizing, reorganizing, setting up structures, carrying out structures elections from branches to district, with a view to hopefully leading us to the delegates conference, when upon we hoped my president, our president, Milton Obote, would have hopefully attended, but in the very least would have, while alive, handed over the presidency of the party to his successor. That did not happen, but that's UPC constitutionalism. That is our role and contribution to this. While my president, and indeed our president, dies in October, obviously we had an interim leader in Mama Miria. We went through to the 2006 elections. And so after the 2006 elections, and then 2011 elections with Laro Trudeau, how that this party, that was absolutely and directly responsible, as I told you, I committed 17 years of my life in exile, saying no to this Republic of Uganda and the NRA, unless political parties are restored, until political party operations are restored, so that I return to Uganda as a member of UPC, able to put on raid Milton Obote's badge, members of the Congress, and commit myself to a political process together with all my colleagues. And that's the mandate I came up with. So come 2015-16, we do not have a candidate. Why did we not have a candidate in 2016? What happened? Candidate for president. In an event for which we are the custodians, an event for which we created, for an event in which we led, for an event which is the constitutional process that is a must both in our party and in this country. 2016, we didn't have a candidate. 2021, we didn't have a candidate. So Mike, if you ask me about 2026, 2026 is an event. There is something criminal that has happened over the last two previous election cycles. There is something that happened fundamentally in my party. And so, unfortunately, to reconclude that, obviously, that the reason we don't have a candidate.
If you're to break it down precisely, what could have caused all that? Right from 2016, 3 terms consecutively, no presidential candidate from UPC.
This party has been massively infiltrated. This party has been massively compromised. Milton Obote's political party. This party has been conveniently at some stage been used as meal cards by certain individuals. But this party has also been let down by leaders. And this party has also been let down by sometimes we members of the party. Because maybe I'll come back to it later. 2 critical things that saved this party and that made it have the ability to liberate a constitutionalism with the killing of Article 269 Milton Bote said it. I think I have it in some literature somewhere, but I think it's my other libraries elsewhere, either in Nagongero or somewhere in my former place in London. But Bote always said that the two things that remained of Uganda People's Congress, while Museveni and his dubious foreign friends fought to kill this party, fought to break its neck, and fought to neutralize its presidency in the name of Milton Obote in Lusaka. One thing they couldn't do thus far then, as he was talking, in as long as Milton Obote was alive, and in as long as the Constitution of Uganda People's Congress was alive, it meant they couldn't break it. And I'll give you context of his argument. The argument was this, that on the basis of the Constitution of Uganda People's Congress, only the Delegates Conference of Uganda People's Congress elects its president. Milton Obote, as the elected president, overthrown by bandits plus their bandit friends, exiled in Lusaka over those years, all manipulations, including some members of UPC to seek to have some kind of conferences trying to depose Milton Obote, couldn't work, because the guiding Bible of Uganda People's Congress, and I've got a Bible thankfully in my living room, is the Constitution of Uganda People's Congress. That document saved this party. What does it mean? Because the president can only be elected by the Delegates Conference, and because at the time when NRA banned at political party operations, it meant that the Delegates Conference could only sit once Article 269 had been lifted, banned. So it was conflicted. You know, Article 269, for those who did not know, lest people in NRA boast, was that, existing political parties in their constitution that they like to boast about, 1995 NRA constitution, may continue for the time being only in force, except you can't open branch offices, operate existing ones, hold public rallies, campaign for or sponsor candidates for any elections.
Yes.
And finally, even in a cheeky way, they may not do anything that may be deemed to interfere with the movement political system. So for people who think NRA movement has brought them some kind of semblance, I think so, shame on them. But then, so that was Article 269. So in as long as that existed, you couldn't, as a party, convene a delegates conference. But also to convene a delegates conference, it's the president who has to convene the delegates conference. And that was Milton Obote in Lusaka. So constitutionally, we were in that lock, but in a way, it served our purposes against those who wanted to break the party and break old Milton. Why is that important? It's important because, as I told you, that immediately we got the lifting of the ban on political parties to show that Milton Obote couldn't wait to hand over. He, as I said, wrote me one month later, and we set on the path of constitutionalism, which unfortunately his life ended before he could see the reality. And indeed, the original timetable was that we expected that the Delegates Conference would have been held by September 2005. Unfortunately, of course, administration of these things takes time. And because we had been banned for a very long time, logistics and everything else, it took a longer time, so they kept on stretching it. And so that's why by October, we hadn't even reached the level of, I think, the district conferences. But why that's important is that, as it may, it meant that 2015, as you know, the last elected leader of Uganda People's Congress is Olaro Tunu. That is 2010. So in 2015, when Olaro Tunu was supposed to be replaced, it's a bit of a boring thing for you because people know it, but I think once in a while some people forget and sometimes people conveniently try to argue. And I like sometimes some of your own audience, Mike, I watch some of your programs, sometimes I listen to some of them. You find some average guys wanting to be expert lawyers. They want to outcompete eminent lawyers. They want to outcompete judges. And Uganda can be very interesting. And even UPC, you're a fantastic political party. So because you're a party of ideas keep on storming. So you can find very interesting people, so you can find an average pharmacist as an pharmacist and an expert on constitutional law. But that's neither here nor there. So obviously the process for the election of president in 2015 was not complete, to cut it short. Olaro Tunu had called through the process of the district conferences. This thing was cut short. I'm not quite sure whether I want to spend your favorite airtime to the nitty-gritty of it, because sometimes it's very semantic law. I call it deliberately, I say so. So Olaro Tunu was never allowed to call for the delegates conference as president.
So in this
But it has been argued, if you don't mind, that apparently there's some people who argue that Olaro did not want to call for the delegates conference. And I was a way out of this process. 2010, I participated in the elections. 2015, I did not. When I saw the arguments between Olaro, his group, Bossa, my brother Jimmy, and others, whatever was the case, the answer was not to usurp the powers of the Constitution. Basically, that's my point. It was not to usurp the powers of the Constitution.
Joseph, yes. In this case, you don't recognize Jimmy Akena as the UPC party president.
No, I don't. But I recognize Jimmy as my brother.
But not as a party president?
No.
So could it be one of the reasons as to why he has never presented himself in the presidential ballot?
Not because I don't recognize him, but it doesn't matter for him, but I'll try and explain what I understand. So 2015, 16, Jimmy, who was presenting himself, because there are two things that happened, which I wasn't happy with, and people have got their own versions of it. And it's the first time I'm having this conversation with you on your network, but it's something I've discussed with many people, including my brother Jimmy, and others. On the basis of the UPC Constitution, Olaro Tunu should have been allowed or forced or compelled, or whatever the case, to call a delegates conference. He didn't. The final delegates conference to elect leaders.
Yes.
He'd gone through the process. So that really is where this bit of the issue is. So there are people who blame Olaro, there are people who blame Jimmy, and there are people who obviously blame the third force. It's a matter for other people. But the point is this, that Olaro was, as you know, pushed out of Uganda House. Jimmy called for a consultative meeting to make it easier. He was generally fairly popular, quite popular in fact. Although some of the delegates, it has been alleged even earlier this week, some people who participated in those processes told me that indeed money exchanged hands, in certain regions, particularly our east northern regions. I don't know about other spaces. This particular regional leader of Jimmy's from those ends was telling me this. The fact is that a consultative meeting was turned into a delegates conference to make it simpler for your viewers, and which was unconstitutional. This matter became a subject of court, and court found that it was an irregular process. It violated the Constitution of Uganda People's Congress. So it doesn't matter which side of this game you are and whether you want to play emotions.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the UPC Constitution was violated.
But Joseph Ochieno, you said you don't recognize Jimmy as party president, but again, he has been running party activities. He represented UPC in the High Pod and all that. He has been running party activities. Now, where have we gone wrong? From what point?
You're trying to tell me that apartheid leaders were apartheid rulers were leaders of South Africa. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Or you want me to call Idi Amin Honorable Comrade Chief Idi Amin President of the Republic of Uganda? No. what you do is almost like you go to somebody's kraal. I don't want to use a strong Luo word, and you do whatever you want to do, and then the outcome, you hail it as victory, you know. Is that the case? No, you don't do it that way. No, quite clearly, I don't know then on what grounds I should. As I said, Jimmy called a consultative meeting, and they constituted themselves a delegates conference. He was declared president-elect, in fact. That is unconstitutional according to our UPC constitution, but also according to the High Court and Court of Appeal, and I think including Supreme Court. Okay. So they ruled against all that. So who am I as a pure member of Uganda People's Congress? But I was also trying to tell you that at the time, when I was following this from a distance, if I was advising Jim or anybody else, I would not have advised them to break the constitution. Mike, if you spend time and go back to why I was giving you the background, including old Milton, and by the way, Milton Obote's self-appointed permanent spokesperson. So you would not be asking me those follow-up questions. So you break the constitution of UPC, so you want me to do what to you? Okay? Now, followed by that, this matter is challenged in court. The matter is challenged in court. The matter goes to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal rules and agrees with the lower court. Okay? Court of Appeal asks for fresh elections, and that is in 2020. Fresh elections is held. I understand when it's convenient, Jimmy says the appeal. When it's not convenient, he did not appeal. So if in this case he did not appeal, you know, so if Court of Appeal, the National Court of Appeal is a court, not something from Kabamba or whatever the case, then we must recognize they exist. So if Court of Appeal ruled that Jimmy is not president and asked for fresh elections, who am I? Fresh elections were held. That's where, interestingly, I come in. I participate in those elections. And I win those elections convincingly. I was not declared. But you realize that I was not declared, and I did not decide to go and break on the neck of Olubiri and anybody else. I sought a formal process, a judicial process. I went to court, and the matter is pending in court, and that's why I called myself a presidential candidate, or the president should be president rather than leader of the party. Yeah.
Then now, you would have read all the lines in the party, and it seems like party is sinking down in a deep hole. What can you do to relieve the party from the current state?
Way back as from 2011 elections, where I was a candidate, Najim was a candidate. Actually, a number of our candidate colleagues were nearly wanting to walk out of Nambole. I sought the view that it would be a wrong thing for us to walk out, and I encouraged my colleagues, and we didn't. Olara became leader, and it's our job that we recognized his leadership, whatever our opinion. The conflicts that emerged, I was not a party to it. In any case, of all the people who stood with Olara, I'm the only person he never gave a phone call to offer a job. But I never quarreled with him. Yeah, he gave, and I've told him, Olara's a senior colleague. So he gave people jobs, gave Jimmy a job. Why did people take up these positions? Neither here nor there. But while conflict continued, I actively worked, because you're asking my opinion, my role. I actively actually worked to seek to bring different warring factions or parties together from behind the scenes. I involved religious leaders, I involved political leaders. It didn't work. Actually leading to 2015 elections, myself and somebody else closer to Dr. Bote's family, or a person not named for the moment, we tried our level best actually to try and bring harmony in the party, because we understood what the implications were. From the 15-16 debacle, again, I got quite involved in these processes. In fact, about 2017, 18, up to about 2019, I involved very senior people, including senior national clerics, I will refer to them sometimes on other networks, to try and bring Jimmy's side and Olubiri side together. In fact, maybe I make it public. I engaged senior cleric Professor Loa, amongst others, with the retired bishops, to bring the two parties together. I wasn't involved, but this is my party, And as I said, I knew I would have to report to old Milton. What did I do? Make contributions to mitigate any challenges, and while at the same time trying to build our party. It didn't work. So when it became apparent that it was not possible to settle these parties, these conflicts, the only option was then to support whatever process was legally available at the time, and that was the matter which was then pending in the Court of Appeal. And we pursued that, and once the matter was determined in 2020, where Justice Eileen Mulyagonja ruled that Jimmy was indeed not president, and that fresh elections be held, and we decided to follow that process. But something else was interesting, one of the reasons to Oniala's question. Before the Mulyagonja ruling of September 7th, on July 29th, I think, she had in one of the hearings before the definitive ruling,
yes,
asked for a written submission from Jim McKenna's side, and another, and then and also for a written submission from the Walubiri side, if you want to call them like that. But she also ordered on that day, I think 29th of July 2020, that Jimmy's then pending second delegates conference, which then eventually took place in Kasangati, should not continue. That is from the Court of Appeal, and it's documented. So you guys, as Uganda People's Congress, we need to choose. Do we follow? Yeah, so I need to repeat this. We need to choose. Are we Democrats or militarists? Are we pluralist, progressive, left political party, or are we monarchists? Is UPC a property of an individual, groups of individuals? It's the political party that I joined in 1980. So the point is this. Court of Appeal rules and asks for election process not to proceed. You continue with it. The Kasangati meeting is now public knowledge. The Kasangati meeting continued because Jimmy and his group had confidence of the backing of the state. That's common knowledge. These guys went, in other words, Kasangati meeting took place on the 1st of August 2020 against the, in contempt of court, basically against the provisions of Court of Appeal. And it was 4 or 5 weeks later when the definitive ruling came out, where Justice Mulyagonja, again, a very definitive, impressive ruling, and people should read this ruling. And the woman writes as if she's a sympathizer of Uganda People's Congress and member. And she cries on behalf of our party, and even warns UPC members ought to know that the integrity and the credibility of Uganda People's Congress will continue to be in doubt, unless members of Uganda People's Congress go through the constitutional process and elect their leaders in conformity with the constitution of Uganda People's Congress.
Joseph Ochieno, like 3 terms consecutively that we have missed being in the ballot.
Yes.
In your capacity, what shall you do next to save the party?
That's what I'm doing right now. That I told you, in fact. It's a continuation of what I was trying to say to you earlier. That once Court of Appeal rules that fresh elections be held, I offered myself for election as a candidate. But by that time, I had already attempted peace talks from behind the scenes when I was not an interested party in what you can call conflicts between Walubiri, Akena, and others. That process failed. We went through the process of elections.
What led to the failure?
Sorry?
Of that conversation, the dialogue?
Yeah, the initial one, I think there is ego in the party. I think there is self-entitlement by certain individuals in the party. I think there is also impunity in the party. And all sections of the party have some of these things.
Okay.
Ego, self-entitlement, and impunity. And it's really, really crude. It's not the Milton Obote way. By the way, you guys, I'll report you to all Milton in heaven. It's terrible. So that happens. These guys continue with that. It fails. Now, including my elections, the manner in which the figures for my results were fudged by particular individuals who know, it was so clear that they thought they were doing something somewhere in Alemere or somewhere in Aloy or somewhere in particular corner of the Maga branch, branch elections of an LC-NRA elections. No, it was the election of the president of Uganda People's Congress. And once I complained, I didn't get a response. And once I complained again, I didn't get a response. And when I gave notice that if this continued, I would seek legal redress, people thought I was joking. At the time, people didn't think that OCHIENO would ever come out publicly to talk against or about the party negative in the media. So I did, and for that reason, I went to court.
Okay.
Yeah.
Briefly away from the legal matters, party now has 56 flag bearers for members of parliament, and so many at the district level. What plans do you have to give a hand to the flag bearers?
As OCHIENO, I continue to do what I've been doing for the last 35 years.
What have you been doing?
I'm explaining to you. As OCHIENO,
to the flag bearers.
I'm giving you an answer. You know, I'm giving you an answer.
Yes.
I continue to do what I've been doing. By the way, when I came to be part of this process in 2020, 2021, lest you forget, you know, certain people didn't even want to associate with UPC. There are people who didn't even want to associate their names with Milton Obote, lest you forget. So some of these things can be neither here nor. So I do these things full time. So what am I doing the last 5 years full time? I've given myself this job to do. I've been recruiting party members. I've been supporting party structures. I've been going around the country at every opportune moment. The critical people to be challenged. Jim McKenna, who is sitting at the party headquarters, because sometimes he challenges and he raises this thing and sometimes can be very irritating. That what are you doing? You know, no. The people who claim the leadership of the party and they have the resources of the party and they use the name of the party to claim resources. Those are the lead people who must bear the responsibility to provide key direct resources to the party, and we shall audit those people. But as individuals, for me, including earlier today, I was trying to establish whether or not a particular candidate who apparently turned up to stand as an independent somewhere in a particular sub-region for LC5, you know, what kind of ways in which we're able to support them. For me, practically, I do that using my basic resources. I use media networks, I use communities, I use networks like yourselves, I use various party structures to do this. As a matter of interest, I came to campaign for Aguri in Dokolo, and only cheekily the other day, somebody was saying that my campaign in Dokolo was because it was attacking a particular individual. It did not. I'm using this forum to respond. Go back and check that when I came to campaign in Dokolo, I recruited at least 10 people over 2 days. 10 people to Uganda People's Congress over 2 days. And when I was on radio in Dokolo, 2 people crossed into UPC live on radio. Go and check your records. You know, say that because of that Ochieno from Tororo, I'm NRM, but I'm going to vote for UPC. So that's what I do. I do it as a matter of routine. So finally, when we met the Electoral Commission,
yes,
I was the one who made the last submission that the question of candidature for members of Uganda People's Congress for Parliament and others should not be part of the conflict. In any case, actually, when Jimmy went to court, that specific court provision was not necessary. Whether it's Jimmy, or I presume Jimmy, in DENIS, ENAP, Peter Orobiro, or myself, all of us were agreed that we needed to support members of UPC or people standing on UPC ticket without any conditionalities. So we should continue to be able to support these people. We should, and I will be going around the country to campaign for people who are holding UPC flag. But I have also committed myself, like I did in 2020, that even people who are standing as independents, particularly in areas where there's no UPC parliamentary candidates, but we know that they're supporting UPC and they chose to stand as independents, either because they have specific grievances with the party or they could not get particulars, we will support those people.
Okay. Well, Joseph Ochieno, Honorable Jimmy Akena have launched fundraising drive to support the candidates. Will you take part of this? Will you be part of the campaign?
I have been supporting Uganda People's Congress officially since 1991, using my resources and using every means possible. And I think, for the record, I don't know whether there's anybody alive today who has committed, not in terms of quantity, but in terms of commitment. And I'm not asking for medals because, you know, I'm not asking for medals. So I do support people and members of the party and candidates in Uganda People's Congress as a matter of routine. As an individual, I was just explaining to you, I have done my bit and I'll continue doing my bit. That said, what Jimmy is doing, you know, is fine. The only thing I ask is, why wasn't Jimmy doing this in 2016? Why wasn't Jimmy doing this in 2021? Number two, there is this new thing that Jimmy is the expert in supporting candidates. In July 2022, on Independence Day, had I not fueled my little kawish and got my one or two small assistants and gone to Soroti, we're going to lose all the members in Soroti, including the UPC candidates in Soroti. I think the candidates just moved on. Why? Because the by-elections of Soroti, okay, the by-elections of Soroti did not see Jimmy. The by-elections of Soroti did not see Walubiri. The by-elections of Soroti did not see any of those guys. And at the time, members of the party in Soroti were furious. And they were saying, we are the only lead political party that did not have their leader there. So I had to go there on Independence Day. So now when we get the good thing that happened in Oyam and the good thing that happened in Dokulo, and all of a sudden people want to claim to become much more Jesuits, that we have some more specialist campaigners than others, I wonder. So we ended up going to Kisoro, which is fine, but which one is more winnable? Was it Kisoro or Soroti? So no, it's about timing and opportunism taking place. But no, fair enough.
Yes.
Whoever is a candidate for Uganda People's Congress needs to be supported. And it's long overdue, but I don't think it justifies the illegality process we are discussing at the moment.
Okay.
Let Jimmy do that as Jim McKenna, Member of Parliament for Uganda People's Congress. Let Jimmy do that as Milton Obote's son, my brother. But Jimmy as President of Uganda People's Congress is a farce because it's not true. And also this thing about these days supporting members of the party and crying foul about being more UPC than others and questioning other people's candidature and loyalty to UPC, I find that actually very obnoxious. Just like I find obnoxious the idea that if OCHIENO if there are no members of parliament from Tororo, you should not speak about it. No, the UPC constitution, when nobody was sending me here, there was no member of parliament for Tororo, and nobody did not send me here because it's that. No, Uganda People's Congress is a national political party.
Okay.
And it's a political party where all UPC members should participate. 2 months ago, I came from Ankole and I met someone who lost 2 children because of this political party. So some of these things are neither here nor there. So sacrifice for the party is not really about material. Okay. Sacrifice for the party is about conviction. But also this business of people boasting with a few shillings, or sometimes a few million shillings, when some of those million shillings may have come from sources contrary to the provisions of the Constitution of Uganda People's Congress, people need to examine their conscience.
Okay. Few days ago, the reshufflement came when Jimmy Akena replaced Honorable Santalum with the Honorable Jonathan Odu. Is this legally and rightly done?
Jimmy is not president of UPC, but if he's part of his team, he's doing his things, that's fair enough for him. But that is Jimmy's team, it's not the UPC team. But number 2, I just find it really interesting that all of a sudden Jonathan is a friend to Jimmy, because I've been following these things. This is my game. So I've been following these things for years. And by the way, again, the reason I say it's my game, there's some people who think that it has to be your game when you're in Kampala or Lira or Nagongre every day. No. Milton Obote was in Lusaka, and once upon a time, there are certain people, by the way, in UPC who once upon a time said Obote was out of touch. So you see this part, Obote is out of touch because he was in Lusaka. No. Obote was more in touch than many of these people. And at the time, as I said, I was Obote's PA from London. So no, we were much more in touch about what was happening in the streets of Kampala than many people in the corners of Nigeria. So no, it's not necessarily that. But look, if Jimmy, as I understand it, replaced Santa, quite obnoxiously true from both sides, I don't hail Santa at all. In fact, I have very strong opinion about people who sing to NRA on the basis of what I know. But that's a matter for them, it's upon their conscience. But I think Santa is in a very difficult position, that she's being sacked for supporting Museveni, while Beta Mongi is a minister in Museveni's thing and has been a permanent spokesperson for Museveni's interests in the last several years. I think that's hypocrisy. But that's a game between Jim and his team. If it's a UPC game, it would not apply to that.
Yes. Joe, what do you make of Jimmy's position of no vote for Museveni, while some members of the party are now offering their support for candidate Museveni? What do you make of this?
No, that's a matter for Jimmy. I don't expect any UPC person to vote for Mr. Museveni. But all I ask on that. I find it opportunistic because I said, where was Jimmy in 2021? Where was Jimmy in 2016? And part of the more recent things about this conversation, and I'm sorry it's a bit confining itself to Jimmy in a way, is that Jimmy all of a sudden said he wanted to be on the ballot this time because he wanted to set the record straight. And I say, my brother, oh, you want to set the record of 40 years straight today? So, is it 2026 to set the record straight when in 2021, you are speaking double Dutch? So which is which? No, it is just that we shouldn't speak one thing in the morning, something else in the afternoon, and by evening we are dining domestic Dutch.
As we conclude, Honorable Jimmy Akena is accusing some of you, the likes of Joseph OCHIENO, Peter Walobiri, and DENIS ADIM ENAP, of dining with Museveni. That led to his that led to his blocking from being nominated in the 2026 election. Why are you doing that?
You're a fourth estate person. When you say why are you doing that, that's expressive. I have recently suggested that anybody who associates such a word with me should watch out for a possibility of being sued for defamation. And number two, that anybody who says such a thing to me directly, I am going to invoke Milton Obote's spirit to curse them. But I've heard something along those lines, but I was just putting that mini disclaimer there. No, it is up to Jimmy, up to Dennis, up to Walobiri to establish where they are with their relationship with Mr. Museveni. Or no relationship with Mr. Museveni. But I think it's cheeky of Jimmy, my brother, and I don't want to, I don't know how much we can say on some of these things. Jimmy knows the truth. Jimmy and some of the people he's accusing, they know the truth amongst themselves. Jimmy knows his relationship with Museveni. Jimmy knows Jimmy and Betty's relationship with Museveni. Jimmy and his team know their relationship with Museveni. Terrible relationships, by the way, with Museveni. I don't know how much I can bring out, but as a leader of Uganda People's Congress, as somebody who really hopes that I'm able to bring this party together, including with Jimmy Kennan, working with them to rebuild this party so that when we go to heaven, we're able to give a slightly better scorecard than what it is at the moment. We have to be restrained. But thankfully, I am delighted that thus far I have managed to beat the desire to sing and dance Nyongo Nyongo NRA, and Jimmy knows it from the heart of hearts. Jimmy also knows the people who do that. They should be slightly much more specific. But it's also a cheek. I think there's a program of yours I watched in which people were talking about double cabins, and all of a sudden double cabins are now equipments for iPod. It took some other people to respond to double cabin issues. No, there have been issues of money and appointments, and so if there is anybody in UPC who needs to examine their conscience about the relationship with the NRA and Mr. Museveni, it really should be Jim Akena and his team. But also Jimmy talks about that, and I don't want to bring ENAP at the center, nor to defend him. But ENAP said that, look, at least on that, since you brought it to me and so on television, ENAP said, if that is the one referred, that look, I, yes, carried money. I carried money. So I was merely a transporter. So if there's some other monies, I don't know. But ENAP said I'm merely a transporter. Now, on that merely transport, I've never heard Jim Akena say the contrary. On that one, I've never heard Jim Akena. So Jim Akena should say, the money that ENAP transported, whether it was money for iPod, or whatever other money. But it's cheap. Now, Joseph OCHIENO is, if not among but is the last defense for Uganda People's Congress.
Okay.
Joseph OCHIENO is the last defense for Uganda People's Congress. And by the way, one of the reasons why I decided to declare publicly myself as a permanent spokesperson for Old Milton was because around 2015-16, after Mr. Museveni going to Minakulu, sitting on a Oima clan seat, and after some of these appointments about deals and visits, some of the people with whom Jimmy visited Museveni have, they've talked about this thing publicly, including to me. I know these things. Jimmy knows. After that, certain people, close people in the party, thought that maybe Jimmy is laying a strategy like his father's guy. But while I realized that no, there's more than meets the eye, I said, no, let me put a defense. So that if anybody and everybody else wants to abandon Uganda People's Congress as I know it and as Old Milton knew it, I will be with it. So this, OCHIENO, the last point of defense for Uganda People's Congress. But to conclude in context for that, urgently, the leaders of Uganda People's Congress, meaning former ministers, former whoever, ought to wake up and come to a reality to bang the table. The leaders of UPC who claim to be leaders and want the future of this party and know the truth ought to come out clearly and take a position. The youth, particularly the 30, 40-something-year-olds that have been trying to engage and recruit and mobilize in good numbers, ought to come and take a position. The fantastic story is this, that I mentor in the last particular 5 years, many, many young people, although I don't have a straw for them. They're willing, ready, and available for Uganda People's Congress with a clear leadership, and leadership with integrity, leadership with vision and direction, Old Miltonian, and all they want is to see is that the party is restored to constitutionalism, and with a leader with a mandate and a leader who is genuinely one with whom they can depend, and if that happened, that this party has got a future. I am much more confident today than I've been ever before. But thirdly, rather sadly, the terrible fact that we did not have a presidential candidate in 2016, 2021, and 2026, there are people who know and they must take responsibility for that. In 2026, I know it's coming to a conclusion. Reports that Museveni blocked Akena. I don't know what Museveni does. I had a meeting, in fact, I'll reveal this. I had a meeting, myself, Jimmy, and Walubiri. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, we had a meeting and we're having a conversation about Museveni. Yes. And I think Walubiri quipped, I'll take this out of authority, quipped that well, but you know those guys, suggested to Jimmy that Jimmy knows Museveni's circles better than the two of us, in a way. So I don't know what Museveni was up to. But as far as my understanding, the Electoral Commission did not stop Akena. The Electoral Commission did not stop Akena. What the Electoral Commission did this time around was to do the right thing. Okay. The Electoral Commission did the right thing. I picked nomination forms for president because I was expecting a declaration from court, a matter which has taken 4.5 years, and Jimmy has not even sympathized with me that it's taken a long time. And Jimmy knows why that matter has taken such a long time. Okay, he did not complain about that. So I was expecting a ruling the following week that I would be declared president of the party. So if I had been, I was determined that I would make sure that UPC is represented this time around, because Jimmy had his opportunity those other days, but it was dilly-dallying for whatever reason, okay, although it was not true. And
as we conclude, yes, you have 1 minute.
I just want to hope that common sense prevails. Yes. And that my brother Jimmy recognizes that he's done his beat. He's been around for the last 10 years. Okay. And he should, in the interest of the party, review his position, review his conscience, step aside, allow the constitution of UPC prevail, have some sense of belief that there are people there out there who can also lead this party, that him and I, if we are not leaders at the helm, we should support such people. On this occasion, of course, the elected leader is Joseph OCHIENO. I'm waiting for that delayed matter in front of Justice Joyce Kavuma Let the declaration come, and in the event that I'm elected and I'm declared leader, I'll work with Jimmy, everyone else, so that we're able to rebuild the People's Congress for the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Joseph PINYTEK OCHIENO, a leader of Uganda People's Congress Party. Thank you so much, our viewers and listeners of Unity Radio 97.7 and Television Unity. Special thanks to my producer, Jacob Aki. My name is Mike Ogwal, and good night.
Thank you, Unity TV. Thank you, Unity Television. The specific program is the Political Hour. I am delighted to be part of this program. I'm delighted to be part of this program, but also part of the program full of fantastic journalists and fantastic listeners and watchers. Joseph Ochieno, every Friday with you guys on the Political Hour. No, remember, Joseph Ochieno, Old Milton Obote's permanent spokesperson. Be with me.
What do you UPC? What do you UPC? Eno biro kwa Uganda kankara jone ku UPC bingo. Kumi. Kunyoni what do you UPC? Eno biro kwa Uganda kankara jone ku UPC bingo. Kaya winya bebra, kodo kan wo ngela wi. What do you UPC? No biro kwaro. Kunyoni what do you UPC? Eno biro kwa Uganda kankara jone ku UPC bingo. Kunyoni what do you UPC? Eno biro kwa Uganda kankara jone ku UPC bingo. Kendo bora kena bore. Sare yele bore poti kwa kono. Mwa biro kimere, poti. Kunyoni kali yele bore poti kwa meti kwa wandu yune UPC dujo. Kunyoni kali yele bore poti kwa meti kwa wandu yune UPC dujo. Kara jone ku UPC bingo. When it was not bad, one minute. Where you PG do you? Where you PG? UPC dojo. Papa win. Kajwa neku UPC pingo. Atini. Oh, ya wamanai. Uri. Inedwa bomwe dinga barba ma wangu kwere UPC dojo. Bomo ningo. Inedwa bomwe dinga barba ma wangu kwere UPC dojo. Eh. Kajwa neku UPC pingo. Ya que ni marlo, como ahora que no borre. Iba que no borre, que el pote me dio pichi. Come uno como guawi. Mami no puede ir la que no borre. Dame no puede ir la que no borre. Como que no window. Dame la ti UPC malo. Y la que no borre. Dame la ti UPC malo. Aywa. Yo cara nego you bitch bingo. Do do yo prima nego you bitch bingo. No do yo cara nego you bitch. Gimme. What it? Mano me no come in here que no borre. Da me no come in here que no borre. Come que no window. Avela ti you bitch malo. Injima que no borre. Avela ti you bitch malo. De capara, come uno. Claro, güey, come. Vaya. Dámelo conmigo, no mara. Dámelo conmigo, mara, güey. Como no digo. Odo ti yo pichi malo. Ya me la digo. Odo ti yo pichi malo. Ya me la digo. Dis-moi. Dámelo como yo no maraguay. Dámelo como yo no maraguay. Copenhague. Odo ti yo pichi malo. Copa window. Odo ti yo pichi malo.
music. Yes, man. Ha. My love componane, my love componane, my love componane. La mego mi dogi, my love componane, my love componane, my love componane. Umego mi anka me jui no tika matu sona, anka wang jui no tika matu waka. My love como pero chalo yana ye spending big wona. Tuki kwak kwak kon penge o keta asoling kwede. Mi tuki, walk tuki, mi tuki. Tuki nyubi keli lok madit. My love componane, my love componane, my love componane. La mego mi tuki, my love componane, my love componane, my love componane. Umego mi tuki. Kuona kuona, kuoni kuoni, pelore compona, kuona mega, kuoni megi, petam ni akuya ping, makon pe puri oti, unyo achami gangi, makon pe legi kimoje, chipping oi lori kuma, yen tida tima, loy loke nying down, yen gina tima, white kom kelu nyero kichol twin, my love componane, my love componane, my love componane. La mego mi dogi, my love componane, my love componane, my love componane. Umego mi dogi. Yo ko pat ini mak megi ba, we ana mak mega ba, pelo kinya ba. Yo ko pat ini mak megi ba, we ana mak mega ba, pelo doga ba. My love como pero chalo yana ye spending big wona. Tuki kwak kwak kon penge o keta asoling kwede. Mi tuki, walk tuki, mi tuki. Tuki nyubi keli lok madit. Oh well, Elias on the beat. Urban record, gain music. Fire Nation get events. Oh for there, kaboom. Yes man.
Log lobo polia, log lobo poli ba ojowa, log lobo duong ba ojowa, log lobo polia, log lobo polia, log lobo poli ba ojowa, log lobo dum kulwa, log lobo polia. Mambo mingi kwa dunia, mambo mingi kwa dunia, mambo mingi kwa dunia, mambo mingi kwa dunia, mambo kali kwa dunia, mambo ni kali kwa dunia, mambo mingi kwa dunia, mambo mingi kwa dunia. Every day, everywhere, every day, everywhere, everywhere, every day, everywhere, every day. They have stolen the votes. Yeah, you know what we. They have cheated my people. You know what we want. They have stolen the votes. Yeah, you know what we. They have cheated my people. You know what we want. See, I stolen my love. I stolen my husband. See, I stolen my love. He has taken my wife. Has taken my girlfriend. He has stolen my wife. You know what dagona. Yero nyamo dagona. Yero palo dagona. Yero mayo dagona. He has stolen my love. Long lobo polia. Long lobo poli ba ojowa. Long lobo duong ba ojowa. Long lobo polia. Long lobo polia. Long lobo poli ba ojowa.
bal Odangari yelego Ibera bera yin la bal Odangari come white Ilega lega yin la min Nyabangari maro lega Iti umegi kutu bal Nyabangari malaya Ilia lia iluora li Odangari jayo dano Ilia lia iluoro do Odangari tunye chol Iloki dano tunyi yom Kunyo nyingari tie simple Imaro dano konyo dano Jangari nyurte Mogo waje yao team dom bene Boss make wene utu Mogo waje yao team good for ya Boss make o tera lwen Mamba mingi kwa dunia Kwa dunia Mamba mingi kwa dunia 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 Kali kali Mamba mingi kwa dunia Mamba mingi kwa dunia Mamba mingi kwa dunia Mamba mingi kwa
Nena beri babanga woro Nena kuma weri nena tia weri we wero ko
Man
Karidaga tichipe amiro na kobi Mbedi lewo miro beda be Fitina pe konyi Han papare balo nyani ni no mera nyani odo tichi Oh let's come together together we stand up Balonyani kunyinga, pe konyo kunyinga, bere nyero nyero kunyinga, kunyinga, kunyinga. Kunyipe, hanke daga. Kunyipe, kunyope mara. Kunyipe, hanke daga. Kunyipe. Ujani kadare neno yogi peo Makayini ti makuli malomere Ujana neno lori doki dora kurgi Iti yuti chalomere Ujana burje Umito negi Yalam bize like a conductor Pia maro nyero like a contractor Beat by beat like puri tractor Okay go town adelunyo Achuwi Wapuri ngira check Awawele lwenyi bigi Only Baba be super. The name of a chill can give a fuck. I will wear nyak music. Hanke daga. When you pay. When you pay mara. When you pay. Hanke daga. When you pay. When you pay mara. Yini miro yilo lefuli. Inchunyi da petia wa makere. Miro jamu chere. Pay miro gura kere. Mina kuya oliva we general. No gang mona ram we na want him around. Me no me see man have been then around. Where I go karo mani angin ngawe. I'm musically but I'm telling you fresh and hot. Yeah. Konyipe Nena beri chachapi Nena beri babanga Wero Nena kuma weri Nena kia weri Wero Puri nena kia puruni Nena kia puruni Puru Chato wili nena chato ni Nyero kia matina na mara Yega niki na mina Big up MC Young Pro
Fear Records, producer Osai. Every day I'm crying, every day I'm toiling, looking for you, baby. A people keep walking, can make you to the body. Pero caleno ne, pero de cobale, pero papiro calima. And bora twero tweye de ding, baby. Anamari, amari in pay mara, baby. Anakeni, akeni in pay gena, baby. Anamari, amari in pay mara, baby. Anakeni, akeni in pay gena, baby, 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 please, leave me no twero tweye. Oh, baby, baby, please, in your villa to Ogwal. Oh, baby, baby, I really wanted to know. Baby, baby, I really wanted to know.
Waka yok dwana ka wochi. I pick a kala ka trinity komada. Pen the first day ma ana nui. Away me a nomini imi a wrong nama. Peoni ken. The white here kurtunga be nine. I go ko the white here kurita ba. Ana fukchona ya pak. A cheer ta bichel. A bir na wacha did me go. We are going to Erbaro. Kin gang we don't go Erbiako in Chana ku. Kichang or whom when Mateba gitit no bin kudwa. Keropi go ngeng they go bin kaya. No bang a logic in enemy. It's your cinema pangu. Rule called me Bui Chamuka Tamo. El Lingini. They be called Naganaga.
Baby, 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 please, leave me no twero tweye. Oh, baby, baby, please, in your villa to Ogwal. Oh, baby, baby, I really wanted to know. Baby, baby, I really wanted to know. Baby, 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 so rock us up on it. Baby, 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 baby. Rock us up and talk upon it. Anyway, say wacha, I. Como wego, ilo, we ikuma. Hey, anyway, say wacha, I. Como wego, kirama, beni, do, peneno. Baby, anyway, say wacha, I. Como wego, ilo, we ikuma. Hey, anyway, say teta, I. Como wego, kirama, beni, do, peneno. Amari, in pay mara. Oh, Anakeni, Akeni in Pekena.
In more than me, I give you a by Sarah. When that did you be fine known. Ninicha eating a tin ala can feel why she had a good of like a Marai like with a bull me a bit. She know me a market in your way a bolo. Marai lawyer where Dirk and Nami chocolate will put in the jam in a pitch. She don't want a bully baby.
Please, leave me no twero tweye. Oh, Amari in pay mara, baby, baby, I really wanted to know. Baby, I really wanted to know.
Oba Keken, Hill Square, Oba Keken, Cock up and Crow, Oba Keken, Upper music. Luega tema metika tema, Ankano bape, Ankona pe. Jamba pulera jametika chora, Ankono bape, Ankono ape. Patoba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe. Oba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe. Entopingo, katantika luen kuman, Anawegi chinguba. Katantika luen kuman, Anawegi chinguba. My friend Gritty boy, may you so rest in peace. Nino Mora tell we go meet. May you so rest in peace. Nino Mora tell we go meet. Nino better to a chain dagatal. Away chinguba. Komili ratai chain dagatal. Away chinguba. One do we chinguba. Kien gina loipe. Luega tema metika tema, Ankano bape, Ankona pe. Jamba pulera jametika chora, Ankono bape, Ankono ape. Patoba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe. Oba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe. Anafuoro to bape gwoko konkuona, Oloto amita lokona. Poruto bape gwoko konkuoni, Oloto amiti lokoni. Oba tumi uwe kumi dwakwot. Mod me kwot ye kumi dwakwot. Ochunke di dog bi atarani dwakwot. Atema bini lolo dwakwot. Jakote mi duny mwesha dwakwot. Gina loipe, kabago wani gina loipe. Gina loipe. Luega tema metika tema, Ankano bape, Ankona pe. Jamba pulera jametika chora, Ankono bape, Ankono ape. Patoba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe. Oba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe. Luega tema metika tema, Ankano bape, Ankona pe. Jamba pulera jametika chora, Ankono bape, Ankono ape. Patoba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe. Oba wani gina loipe, Yesu wagina loipe.